Yo, what's good, YouTube? Zamcro here, aka Scoop, back with the International Trainers League season number 5, week number 5, coming off a 2-game win streak, and we're facing off against the undefeated Long Island Golducks, aka Sheer Force, aka Trevor. Here's a pretty threatening squad here. I'm going to go over it real quick and then go over my team. He has Mew, Infernape, Nidoking, Feraligatr, Goodra, Zoroark, Bronzong, Gardevoir, Claydol, Porygon 2, and Beware with Mew being a Z Crystal holder potentially. We have Victini, Manaphy, Shaman, Zapdos, Cofagrigus, Nidoqueen, Florges, Lucario, Sneasel, Druddigon, and Oranguru, where Lucario could potentially be a Z Crystal holder. That being said, looking at his team, I was really fearful of the Mew, Infernape, Nidoking, Goodra, Zoroark, and Porygon 2 and Beware. So I built a team consisting of Victini, Manaphy, Zapdos, Cofagrigus, Nidoqueen, and Sneasel. Now, I'm going to go over my team a little bit. Victini being a Choice Scarf, U-Turn, V-Create, Zen Headbutt, Toxic set with Adamant Nature, enough speed to outspeed Nidoking, meaning if he Scarf Nidoking, I'll also outspeed Scarf Nidoking. V-Create and Zen Headbutt just, go through his team pretty well. Even max HP with a little bit of defense investment. V-Create does a lot to Goodra, does a lot to Feraligatr. Just a fucking nuke of an attack. Zen Headbutt guaranteed knocks out the Infernape, Nidoking, and Beware. And Toxic's there for things like Goodra, potentially the Porygon 2. U-Turn there for initiative, and I got a little bit of defense investment. Basically, the defensive investment would be there for a physical attack in Mew, Infernape, Aqua Jet for Alligator if I'm not already beat down. Helps me against Sucker Punch Zoroark a little bit. Not the best, I don't think, but just a little bit. Next up is going to be Manaphy, and I bring a Calm Mindset this week. He does have Goodra, but other than that, like Calm Mind Manaphy with Scald, Rain Dance, and Rest just kind of plows through his team. I run a bulky defensive set with enough speed to outspeed the Nidoking as long as it's not Choice Scarf. And basically, as long as I get Goodra going and I play my rain turns right, Manaphy just wins. Straight up wins. It beats the Porygon 2 1v1. Even if it is a toxic set, I can burn it, whereas even if he toxic or paralyzes me, burns me, whatever he wants to do, Tri-Attack, secondary effects, whatever, I can just Rain Dance, Rest, and I'm fine. Next up is going to be a specially defensive Zapdos. I have Volt Switch, Toxic, Roost, and Defog. A little bit of speed investment. I think I'm speed creeping okay, first of all, I'm speed creeping a max speed Modest Goodra. Also speed creeping a max speed Adamant for Alligator. Also speed creeping a max speed Modest Gardevoir. Max speed Adamant Beware. Mid speed or max speed Modest Claydol. So Zapdos pretty much can speed creep a lot of his team. And has max speed F, like I was saying, and then a lot of HP investment. Pressure, can stall his PP, which is really good for the Porygon 2, the Claydol, things that want to spam rocks or spam recover against me. Volt switches for initiative. I'm walled by Nidoking, but I could run extra sensory so he doesn't know I'm walled by Nidoking. Roost and Defog for longevity and to get rocks gone, because rocks, are detrimental to my team. Leftovers for also like longevity. I can predict Draco Meteors from the Goodra. I can predict Ice Beam from Zoroark, from Nidoking, from Porygon 2. And there's a little bit of mind games versus Nidoking and Claydol, where I can't really roost up on them because they could hit me with the Earth Power, the Earthquake. But I think Zapdos is going to do fine. It's really good against this team, especially the team he brought. Next up is my boy Pythagoras. If Zoroark is weakened, Goodger's weakened, or loses its AV, potentially if it has an Assault Vest, as long as Porygon 2 is weakened, Trick Room, Nasty Plot, Shadow Ball, Hidden Power Fighting, Pythagoras with a Cobra Berry can really wreck shop on his team. Max HP, max special attack with 8 EVs in special defense. Makes me as bulky as possible while still hitting hard as possible. As long as I set up my Trick Room and Nasty Plot at the right times, then I think this could be a great middle games breaker or a late game sweeper, depending on how the match is going. Next up is going to be my designated lead, my Nidoqueen. Focus Sash lead, so I can guarantee my rocks. Or if he leads with Nidoking himself, I can just straight up go for the Earthquake, knowing that I have a Sash and can live any hit he wants to go for. I am a physical set with Sheer Force. Looking at his team, I didn't need the boost for Earthquake to wreck shop on the mons that Earthquake wrecks shop on. Infernape, Nidoking, potentially Bronzong, as he could be heat proof for my Victini. And yeah, that's basically it. I have the Toxic for Porygon 2, Claydol, Goodra for Alligator, whatever, Infernape, Focus Sash, Stealth Rocks, Earthquake, and Ice Punch. Ice Punch allows me to hit Goodra for super effective damage. Does a lot more than Ice Beam could ever think of doing. I am Adamant Nature with enough speed to outspeed Beware, outspeed, I guess Beware is it. Well, Claydol and Porygon 2, obviously, and Bronzong, obviously. But those are givens. Yeah, I think Physical Nidoqueen was my best bring. Last but not least is going to be my girl Dewara, Life Orb, Sneasel, Inner Focus, Knockoff, Icicle Crash, Ice Shard, Low Kick. Enough speed to outspeed Max Speed Infernape, as well as the rest of his team in general. As long as they're not Choice Scarf. Max attack, and then the rest dumped into HP because my defenses are piss poor anyway, so why invest when I could invest in HP so I live more Life Orb hits. That being said, we can definitely hop into the battle now. And as I said, I'm going to lead Nidoqueen. But I saw Claydol, I saw Infernape, I saw Nidoking, and I saw potentially Goodra, which Nidoqueen would be better against. But I'm actually going to lead off with Manaphy. Now he leads Goodra here, and what this tells me is he didn't want. What this tells me is that he could potentially be the Zoroark disguised as the Goodra. And if he stays in, he's most likely Goodra. And if he switches out, he's most certainly the Zoroark. So, I'm going to double out here though. I'm going to go into my Zapdos, I believe. If he does switch out first, so he's faster than me, and that makes me guarantee think that he's the Zoroark. He has to be that, or he's Choice Scarf Goodra, which I don't expect. So I do think that Zoroark would be disguised as the Goodra. Now, like I said, I swapped into my Zapdos. He obviously went into his Porygon 2, and we swapped Toxics. This is good and bad because my Zapdos can PP stall the Porygon 2, and I can beat it 1v1. But this is bad in the sense that my most defensive mon on my team is Toxic already. I'm going to hard swap into Pythagoras, predicting his swap either to Claydol or his Tri-Attack. He does glow Claydol, sets up his Stealth Rocks as I set up my Nasty Plot. Now here, I didn't really expect him to stay in, but I had to make the safe middle ground play and just go for the Shadow Ball. Other potential moves I could have went for would be the Trick Room, knowing that Claydol can't do much to me, if anything to me. But I also contemplated going for the Hidden Power Fighting, expecting his Porygon 2 to come in. In hindsight, I should have, played off my instinct, as he does go into the Porygon 2, and I click Shadow Ball. Unfortunate for me, but good for him. I'm going to gauge the damage, as I know he's going to go for Toxic here. I can just gauge the damage that Hidden Power Fighting is going to do. And it does about 35%. So that's pretty good for me. I know he's going to go for the Recover here, so I'm going to hard swap into Zapdos and get rid of these rocks again. Actually, I think this is my first time getting rid of rocks. So again, was a miss. It was a typo. It was a taco. So I do get the rocks gone. He goes for the Tri-Attack. I'm going to be able to roost off the damage. Not too detrimental. It's just Porygon 2's been weakened itself. Probably goes for the Recover here, because HP is very important here. It's looking like a stalling match so far. It's a chess match. We're both playing pretty safe, pretty aggressive at times. He does go into his Claydol here. I'm going to just click Shadow Ball as I brought in my Cofagrigus. And this gives me a lot of chip damage. It's actually very important. And it also gives me an idea about his set. So, based on that damage, he's most likely a special defensive set. And we both swap at the same time again. He goes into Goodra and I go into Zapdos. I predicted his Porygon 2, but this is just as good. I can roost up here, live any hit he wants to go for. He does drop a Draco and misses. Wasn't that relevant though, because all it would have did was made his special attack drop, while he does maybe at the maximum a little over half, and I roosted off on the next turn, and then it does even less on the following turn. So wasn't that big of a deal. It's not really relevant in the match, as I can just defog rocks away here, as he could go for another Draco Meteor if he wants. But he's going to choose to go for the Ice Beam, which isn't a bad play since I am poisoned. And he didn't want to miss again, obviously. I'm going to throw off another Roost here. But this toxic damage really building up here. I should have probably made a hard switch here, but I'm just going to throw off a Toxic to make sure that this thing is in range of all of my Mons. Most certainly in range of the next, unless it has a rest, it's going to be in a few turns in range of my next Cofagrigus Shadow Ball without a boost. And he's actually going to click the Earth Power and catch me on a Roost. So here I just decide that Defog is my best play. So he goes out into his Nidoking. I drop to the Toxic pretty much on the perfect turn. Can bring in Nidoqueen here and force him out, potentially fearing a Choice Scarf. He goes into Claydol. Immune to the Earthquake, but not immune to the following Ice Punch. I am Life Orb Adamant. Max attack, so it does pick up the knockout, knowing that he's more of a Spadef set. And here I can kind of 1v1 his Porygon 2. As you can see, that did 34%, so I could knock him out here. But I get a low roll. This is important in the sense that he gets a Recover off. And he could potentially get a Burn or a Pair or a Freeze off one of these Tri-Attacks. As he just won't die. So 34% look like a high roll, as I got a 29% roll there. So I can't really complain about the low roll, but I can complain about that pair. But I won't. It gives me some information here. He brings in the Goodra and goes for the knockoff, so that's most certainly the Zoroark. And I can just bring in Manaphy here, and I can click, I think, Rain Dance. Okay, yeah, the reason I clicked Rain Dance right there is because if he went for the knockoff and did a lot of damage, say he's Choice Bandit or something, goes for the knockoff, does a lot of damage. I go for the Rain Dance on this turn, and then on the following turn, he could go for the knockoff again, bring me really, really, really low, and then I could rest up and get all my HP back and then wake up in the rain, and then knockoff's doing a significantly less than it was before. And as you can see, I revealed Calm Mind as he reveals Thunderbolt. Well, with his Goodra being his switch in here to Manaphy. Now, at this point in the game, I'm going for game. We're 28 turns in. I'm going for game here because I can set up all these Calm Minds. I can set up another Rain Dance. But I'm going to misplay here. I thought if I go for rest here and then I'll wake up and then the rain ends, and then I can set up Rain Dance again. But that's not how the mechanics of the game works, unfortunately. He goes for the Thunderbolt. The rain's going to end, and I don't wake up. So, very unfortunate for me. He hard swaps into his Infernape, too. So, at this point, I'm thinking he's some sort of setup Infernape, or he's a Choice Band Iron Fist Infernape with Thunder Punch. He does hard swap, or he does hard go for the Sword Dance as I hard swap into my Victini. He doesn't want to take a Zen Headbutt. So, I go for the... I do go for the Zen Headbutt as he goes into the Zoroark. Now I contemplated going for the Zen Headbutt, but the V-Create. But if he had Earthquake, he would have knocked me out with it, which could have potentially won him the game. That being said, I go straight for the Zen Headbutt as he switches into the Zoroark. So, like I said in Team Preview, this thing doesn't get Pursuit, so I can just hard swap out here. I'm going to go into Sneasel, as he does have the Infernape, which is a hard check to this, so don't really need Sneasel much. It's not going to do much this game. Just going to click Knockoff here. Really wished I had the Pursuit to catch the Zoroark on the Pursuit, so I would know if it's the Zoroark. You know what I'm saying? Could have went for the Ice Shard there, and Sucker Punch would have failed, and then I could have went for another Ice Shard, and Sucker Punch would have obviously failed, but it would have been a 2-hit KO. I don't agree with the Sucker Punch play, as Icicle Crash would, if he would outsped me, it would let me know that he was Choice Scarf. So Icicle Crash was my better play, as it would give me more knowledge as he knocks me out. But if he's not Choice Scarf, Icicle Crash is still my best play, as I knock him out with one hit. Whereas if I went for Ice Shard, I probably wouldn't have knocked him out. And if I did go for the Ice Shard and he went for Sucker Punch, it would have failed. So I don't agree with Sucker Punch. He's going to be able to go into his Infernape here. And I'm just going to click Knockoff. I'm going to get rid of its item. If it's Life Orb, if it's Sash, just getting rid of its item. So he goes for U-turn and he outspeeds me. So he revealed Swords Dance earlier, so I know he's not Choice Scarf Swords Dance. So this has to be the Zoroark. I lose my Sneasel, but he goes into his Infernape. Goodra is looking like more and more of a threat. But I do have Toxic on Victini. I do have a Calm Mind Manaphy, so I'm not that afraid of it. He goes into the real Infernape here, and I got my Victini in, so I'm just going to click Toxic here, predicting him to go into Goodra or Zoroark. He does go into Goodra, so this is really, really good for my Manaphy. Manaphy's looking like a late game win condition easily, as if it wasn't already late game. I'm going to hard swap into Cofagrigus here and throw off a Shadow Ball just to weaken the Goodra a little bit more. I see hard swaps into Zoroark, so good play on his part. Try to get that knockoff off. And he does go for the knockoff. Activates my Cobra Berry, and I live on 1%. Fucking Cofagrigus living on 1%. Are you kidding me? Throw off a max attack, max special attack, boosted by the special attack nature, hidden power fighting, knocks out the Zoroark, and now I can bring in Victini. I can click Zen Headbutt, and I flinch him. Now that's unfortunate, but I want to go over something here. He reveals to be Sash, so the most powerful attack he could go for right now is an Adamant Earthquake or an Adamant Stone Edge. Now, if he has Earthquake, he can't really hit my Zapdos. But if he has Stone Edge,
well, I think Stone Edge has 100 base power now. So I think Stone Edge and Earthquake do the same amount. A maximum of 72%, minimum of 60% if he's adamant max attack. With no, he obviously doesn't have a life orb or any kind of boosting item, as we saw the focus sash be consumed or whatever. That being said, I'm gonna go back a turn, and he is his Zoroark, if it's adamant with a choice scarf. It does between. He's definitely choice scarf because he outsped my Sneasel. But if he's adamant, he's outsped by choice scarf, Victini, and stuff like that. So I don't expect him to be adamant. I expect him to be jolly. But even if he was adamant, he would only do between 35 and 41, potentially 42% with knockoff onto my Cofagrigus. And he did, I think, 38%. Now, if he's jolly, he got a max roll, meaning I live that hit no matter what. So, so back to this play. He does go for. I asked him if he had Earthquake in the chat, and he said he did. That means he could have did a maximum of 72%, meaning I would be at the lowest HP I could be at would be 70 or 27% or 28%, that is. And then I would have, knocked him out with the next Zen headbutt. But he does flinch, and he decides to hard switch into his Goodra here. And it takes relatively a lot, 30%ish, and it's going to be able to be a 3-hit KO. As he drops a Draco, it does a little under half, so I know he's not that offensively invested. So the Draco Meteor on Zapdos earlier that missed is even less relevant. I'm going to be able to knock him out here. I was Choice Scarf, so I went from Choice Scarf to neutral to half speed or whatever. Got a hard swap into Manaphy here, because if he knocks me out and then sets up on a sleeping Manaphy, he just wins. So I'm just going to sack off my Manaphy here, try to wake up, but that's not going to happen because of sleep mechanics. If you didn't know, back in the day, sleep mechanics were 2 turns of sleep, then wake up. Now it's 3 turns, you wake up on the 3rd turn instead of the 2nd turn. Bring in Victini here and click V-Create, knowing that it's guaranteed knockout at 1% no matter what. And knew that +2 Mach Punch couldn't knock me out if you had it. But yeah, it's a really, really good game to Trevor there and his Long Island Golducks. Phenomenal game. Phenomenal game. Prepped really hard. Watched your game with Blue Victini in the MPL, and I was like, damn, Trev on a roll. He was undefeated, and we're going to be able to knock him off here. Just can't say enough about that game. An instant classic 49 turn ITL battle. Very, very fun, man. If you like, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. And I'll see you guys in week 6. Thank you for watching.